Okay, Joe, for this first video here, just wanted to take a look at basically I'm going to give you a couple videos here. The first one is just going to be about basically your stance, your base, your posture, your ball carriage, and then some of the lower half stuff that we talked about. Okay, so the picture on the left is from the final throw you made on the right. Sorry, final throw of the day. The picture on the right is from your first throw of the day. So I am going to play those for you real quick. So they'll play simultaneously. I'll play them a couple times. Hang on. Okay, so if you look at the one on the right, let's start with the one on the right. Okay, remember your base was pretty narrow. We had drawn the lines down. You were right about at shoulder width. Okay, your ball carriage was higher up kind of by your chin area. So those were a couple things we were looking to address right out of the gate, and you can see on the left, much improved. There's your base, obviously wider. Okay, sorry that line's a little off, but obviously your base is much wider, much better. Also your ball carriage, much better position here for what you're about to do next. Okay. Now, the next thing is that we would like to improve upon. Okay, and again on the right you're much taller, much more upright. On the left we have a better base. But let's take a look at the base here, and let's worry about maybe we can sink our knees a little bit more, also sink our hips a little bit more, and then let's bear weight on the balls of our feet, as opposed to, you can see here you're really basically flat-footed, and I'd like to see you kind of have a little bit more weight on the balls of those feet, and the reason being is that's important for the next couple things that we're going to talk about here. So that's what we're looking at here, a definite improvement from the right side to the left side in just your first session on just your base and your ball carriage. The next thing we'll talk about is your drive and your break. So this is something we still want to work on. There's definitely improvement from the right frame on the right to the frame on the left, but then on this particular throw you didn't really give me much of a stride. But essentially we want to look at highlighting your back leg as your drive leg and your drive foot, and then the front side is going to be your break. And the foot itself we would call your stride foot, where I referenced it as your GPS foot. Those are a couple different things we have. But basically, when you think about your throw, you want to think about this back leg and this back foot really being the ignition to the entire movement. Okay? And what happens is when you start your throw, I want you to, you always hear about people talking about step and throw, and that's true, but I want you to think about the step as the stride that is being caused by a drive. So I want your back foot and back leg to really, that back of that balls of those feet to really drive down into the turf, to start to move your body. Once you drive, you're thinking about driving that knee towards your target. As if there was a laser beam on the front of your knee, you want to shoot it at your target. At the same time, you're going to take your stride without letting your hips travel. So if we think about our hips kind of staying back, letting the foot then stride slightly forward, opening that foot up to allow your GPS toe to point towards your target and your foot to land slightly left of your target as well. That way your hips can come through. So as we watch here, you really don't give much of a step. If you notice, you just kind of take your foot and turn it. And once you do that, you can see the lean, or rather the rolling forward of your body. If you notice that bend in the knee, okay? So what we want to see happen is you want to think about driving into the turf, driving our knee sharply forward, and then as soon as the balls of your stride foot, if your foot was to leave the ground, the balls of the stride foot would touch, and as soon as they touch, you want to then drive that heel down flat, okay? And that will be your brakes. The brakes keep your body from moving forward and getting on top of your foot. So if you watch as you throw, see how you end up being right on top of that foot? The brakes are going to keep you back behind the front foot, which is going to allow much more power to get up into your arm. So if you were to envision that tank of energy we talked about, your power would be starting forward from the drive foot. Then when you hit the brakes, the power redirects upward through your core. Now, by keeping your brakes intact and keeping your chest back in the throw and working the squeeze of the front arm, you keep your chest out of it, and now all that energy comes out of your arm. So that's what you ideally want. when you come forward and bend that knee, you've already got power escaping out of that knee, coming forward. Then as you continue on your throw, the forwardness of your chest does not allow all that power to get up into your arm. So we want the throwing of a football to be a much more explosive movement rather than a slow, controlled movement. Yes, it's controlled by everything we're doing, but we want it to be a sharp, explosive movement. That way we can maximize our velocity and our efficiency, which will create consistency. And when you create consistency, that means you create accuracy. And that's what we're looking to do here all the time. Okay, so that's what we're looking to improve upon, really, is that drive and stride and break phase of the throw in terms of, if you just kind of cut your body in half here and look lower half, we're looking at break, drive, and stride. Drive, stride, and break, excuse me. So that's where I'll stop your first video at, lower half stuff. But you can also see on the right-hand side, much improved here, where you had almost no stride at all and really almost no power. You're just kind of falling forward onto that foot, referring to this side here, just kind of falling forward, and it really just became, your throw was all about the rotation of your body and the pulling of that arm. You definitely have a little bit of momentum build up on the left video, which is good stuff. Okay.